woman who sprinted beyond limits, carrying India's hopes on the world stage. An Olympian, a fighter, a spirit that still runs to inspire.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Speak Clean, powered by Clean India Journal. Today we have a special guest in our studios, a guest who is moved across the different fields from track and field to banking to tours and travels, totally different fields, different experiences. So we will get to know more about her uh, over the course of the next couple of hours. Welcome to Vandana Rao.
Thank you, Nandu. It's really a pleasure being here.
Your travel experiences, I think, are the most interesting part which you would like to know. Where were you recently, and which all countries you visited, and any memorable experiences you can relate?
Recently, I was in Europe. So, when mostly I do only Europe these days, and Europe in the sense mainly Western Europe. We start from London. From London, we come to the continent. That is, we come to Netherlands. From Netherlands, we go to France, and from France to Germany. Germany to Switzerland, Switzerland to Austria, Austria to Italy. Like it goes on. Mostly the Western Europe.
What do you do? That is, you are taking a group, right?
Yes, I am a tour leader, a tour leader or tour manager, you can call
Of?
anything, of the group. Like I work for a company known as SAS Global. They are a destination management company from in Mumbai. So then they cater to all these agents, and agents, they have a group. And normally I go as a tour manager to coordinate everything. Like I take them and I like see that they don't miss any attractions. And I'm like, I really, it's like a manager. How when we used to go to sports, we used to have a manager. It's something like that. I take care of them, take care of all their needs. And once they finish the tour, I send them back to India. So that's my job.
So, did your sports career, meeting people in camps, competing with different athletes, mixing people in competitions, competing with them, meeting them afterwards, did that experience expose you to dealing with different types of people, dealing with some characters who can be funny, who can be troublesome, who can be irritating?
Yeah.
Did that
Right.
help in your traveling?
Sports is a field, you learn so many things. Like, I don't think any other field you will learn so much that I mean what you learn from sports. So I feel mainly it makes you almost maybe not 100%, but it makes you like 70-75% a perfect human being who can deal with any situations. So that way I think I'm really grateful to my background, my sports background, and yes, it has helped me a lot in my travel also.
So you mentioned equip you to deal with any situation. Any situation you can relate which will be very interesting, something which we don't hear about.
You see, in my group, I have around 40-45 people. When you have 40-45 people, they are not the same, Even in your house, like if you have 4 or 5 brothers and sisters, we are like not same that way. Everybody has a different thinking, different personality, and to make them gel as a team, it's like a big task. Like the first 2 days, 2-3 days, it's difficult because everybody is different. You have to keep on telling them that now you're a good big family, you should adjust, you should do. And the way we put it across, at the end of the day, like they are all happy and like a big family enjoying their tours.
As an athlete, travel to places for competitions, for camps, and all that. As a woman, what was your experiences now as a tour leader? What do you find anything different now?
Yes, there is, especially in India, I think there is a lot of improvements where toilets and other things are concerned. Initially, when we used to go, that was in early 80s, there was not so much of facilities. Like certain places it was difficult for us, because when we used to go for school games and all, they used to put us in schools, and the toilets were not very good. And but now I think everything has changed. uh, one I get one small example is, if I go to Bangalore, from Bangalore to Mangalore I take a bus, and on the way they stopped, there is a toilet stop. It's quite clean, they charge you like 7 rupees, 10 rupees, which is actually very, very less compared to Europe. But it's quite clean, which was not there earlier. But now I think there's a lot of improvements.
Any places you traveled earlier as an athlete? Again, you traveled with the tour group, and the old memories came back.
Yes, of course. I went to Australia then earlier for my World Championships,
Canberra.
World Cup Canberra, and then again I went with the group. Those days I was doing Australia, New Zealand, and all other countries as well. So of course it brings back a lot of memories. Then especially Rome,
Hmm.
I go to Rome very often now,
Mhm.
and I went for the World Championship again in 1987 to Rome, and there's lot of changes. Of course, I don't remember where my hotel was those days,
Hmm.
because now I stay in so many different types of hotels, but I never come across that particular hotel which I stayed. So there's a lot of this, but of course it brings back a lot of memories. That my sports, that was the best period of my life.
Environment and all that is a very thing which everyone is tuned to, keeps track, and we try to update our information. So, have you been to any places where the environment situation, whatever they are doing to sort of preserve the environment or to enhance the environment or to make use of whatever is there in nature, is something which can be shared with the people here?
Yes, because they are very particular about their environment, especially, I mean, they don't litter and all, they don't throw anything out, or they are very particular. They don't spit around and things like that. It's very, very clean when you go abroad, especially in Europe. It's very clean. And if that could, I mean, if we could incorporate that here, and that would be the best thing to happen for us. But
For how long have you been into this tourism thing?
for almost 15 years now.
So over 15 years, you have taken so many groups of people to Australia, New Zealand, to Europe. Now you mentioned, have they come back a little sort of wiser or more aware of what they can do in their own small ways here to make things better?
Yes, most of these youngsters who travel with me, they always give me a feedback. They always say, we should maintain, especially timings.
Mm,
Those
mm,
people are
mm.
very particular about their timing, But we Indians, we follow our Indian time. So my guide, my drivers, they always, when they say something, they will say, India group, please maintain European time, not Indian time. So that way, like many children who come, means youngsters who come with me, they always tell we have learnt a lot, especially to be disciplined, maintain timing, and other things. And also, when you go there in Europe, when you talk, like if you want something, you have to ask, you have to say a please and a thank you, which we don't do mainly. I mean, uh, we are not rude in India, but we make some face and we say "Karna, please." Okay. But there you cannot say that. You have to add a please and a thank you. So that way, people, because when we go the first day, when I introduce myself to them, I talk to them, I tell them, if you say a please and a thank you, it will go a long way here in Europe. So that way, then they follow that. But if you don't say a please or a thank you, the other person, they will tell you, where is the please? Where is the thank you? So, they've learned a lot. They learn a lot of.
So that is a very interesting tip for people who are maybe traveling in future for the first time. Besides that, what are the basic sort of awareness we can sort of share through this platform for young Indians who are planning to go outside for tourism, just to see places? or maybe to study, or maybe work?
No, it's better to follow their rules and regulations. We cannot use our rules and regulations there. Like one simple thing, as I told you, please and thank you. Another thing is when you're crossing road, go through a zebra crossing. You cannot cross anywhere like how we do here. So that's small, small things. And of course, cleanliness. You have to be, you can't throw things anywhere. And you have to maintain all those things when, like how they say, when you're in Rome, be like, that way when you go out, you have to follow their
So
strict
zebra crossing reminded me of one trip in Netherlands. I had gone there for hockey, where the cyclists also use the zebra
Yes,
crossing,
yes,
like with the people to cross the road.
yes. In Netherlands, there's more than 15,000 kilometers of cycle track
Yeah.
where they also have lights and thing. When you are crossing road, you have to be careful of the cycle track as well as the uh, traffic.
Now this is August month,
Yeah.
and uh, many years down the line, in 1984, you were in Los Angeles for the Olympics, your first Olympic Games. Take us through your experiences there when you landed in Los Angeles, reached the Olympic Village, and your eyes just
1984, that was my first ever international tour in 84, and that too such a big place, Los Angeles. What can I say? I was just awestruck. I didn't know what was happening. I'm from a small town. I didn't know anything. And I was running and I just got into the team. And my first international was like an outside was an Olympic game. So I must say I was really awestruck. And when we went to the village, when I saw all these international runners, so again, and Mr. Saini was there, our chief coach. So he was making fun of us always because we were four of us also, we were like first timers. Usha, Shiny, Valsamma, and myself. And I said we were really awestruck, especially looking at the Americans, the Nigerians, the way they dress up. And we were in an ordinary Indian uniform, and they were with full makeup. And we were more than running, we were looking at them like what they were wearing, how they had put makeup, how they had put, jewelries. And we were very, very simple girls. And of course, we ran the semi-finals and we qualified for the finals. We were the first Indian team, I think women's team to qualify for and also we created a new Asian record. We were Asian champions. And I would like to say that what timing we clocked in 1984, the Indian team in 2024 clocked almost the same time after 40 years. So I feel damn proud of myself. Without any exposure, without all the facilities what the present sports people get, we had nothing. We didn't even have a synthetic track in my hometown, Mangalore. I had to come to the camp and I had to run. And we were very, very clean. No like steroids and other things. We didn't know anything. We used to run. I think we used to enjoy, and it was just a pleasure running. No benefits, no prize money, nothing. And on the track, we were like enemies, sort of. But outside the track, we were great friends. We used to like go out, especially Shiny used to cook something for us to eat, and we used to eat because I was a vegetarian, pure vegetarian. I never used to eat non-veg those days. So it was like totally fun, I must say. Not like the present thing. Present, I heard that they don't even look at each other's face off the track, on the track. So we were not like that. Yeah.
And you mentioned about y'all going out to enjoy running. And you mentioned about 2024 Paris Olympics. We have a situation where we have a men's javelin thrower, Neeraj Chopra, whose Paris medal was the second Olympic medal. Before that, he won the gold in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So, situation is where an Indian is won a medal, became the champion in Tokyo 2020, and 4 years later, he is almost repeating the feat
Yeah.
in Paris 2024. So, how do you explain this sort of change in outlook to athletes from whatever you have heard with them or you have interacted with them?
No, as I said, now they have lot of facilities in. I mean, they are exposure. They are sent abroad for training, and they are sent for so many competitions.
Hmm.
So they get used to these things, whereas we were not sent at all, and that's why if we had that exposure, I think we would have done wonders. But these days, and Neeraj Chopra, if you're saying, he's very dedicated, focused, hardworking, and plus he's very simple person. So naturally he's doing very well, and we are very proud of him.
Now, along with Neeraj, we have a lot of athletes across events in track and field who qualify, who look forward to qualifying for the finals is like the done thing. That is what they are there for. And they are almost sort of aiming for trying for their career personal best at the games. If it is in the first three, a medal is possible. But at least they are always aiming for their career best at the at the games against in a higher level of competition. So does this sort of generation reflect the new India, that is the bold India, which may be traveling with you around at on your tours?
But in my tours, mostly they are seniors,
Okay.
very few younger generation. Because these days, as you said, younger generation, they do everything on their own.
Okay.
Say they don't need our help.
Hmm.
But of course, there are some coming with us.
Hmm.
But yeah, these days, athletics, or I can talk only about athletics. I'm not sure about the games, but yeah, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that these days athletes, they aim for qualifying. I don't know whether they aim for higher medal, but the main thing for them is qualifying, qualifying mark, qualifying. They should aim to get a medal. I don't know. You said that they are aiming already, but I am not very sure whether they are doing that. But yeah, if they aim for a medal, then at least they will end up doing personal best.
Talking of aiming, you moved from track and field, then alongside you were in banking, and then after banking you moved into travel. What exactly happened? Because this is a very unique experience.
Yeah, banking, I must say, like, I have to go back to my this. I am from a Brahmin family. First of all, girls are not allowed to go out of the house. And then I got into sports after coaxing my father, everybody, my association people, my headmistress, and everyone came and sat in the house, allow her to run because my timing was the best. And finally, my father agreed. Okay, so I went, and then of course I had got a lot of opportunities. And my in my community and my family those days, no girls had gone out to work. They were getting married by the age of 16, 17, 18, married. And we were not, first of all, we are not allowed to go out, but I went for sports. And now going out for a job was very, very difficult. Then again, the federation secretary of our Mangalore Athletic Association secretary had to come and speak to my father and, allow her to go for, she's getting an opportunity. Then my father finally agreed me joining a bank. Why? Because the head office was in Mangalore. I had very good opportunities elsewhere. Like Shiny and me were given the same post, manager post in Food Corporation of India, which it was posting was in Bangalore, and my father didn't allow me. So finally, I ended up joining a bank. It's not that I liked working in a bank, but then those days mentality is you stick to one place, you don't change. So I stuck to the banking industry. I worked for 26 years in the bank. And after that, I don't know how to explain, but I'm from sports. It's a lot of dedication and the thing in whatever things I do.
That is part of
Which
your
is,
system.
yeah, but everywhere it is not liked, sort of. And then finally, I was made a scapegoat in banking. There were some loans issued it was housing loan. It was a boom that time, 2004. And I had a new manager who never allowed me to go and verify. We have to go and verify the place and, everything, the papers, which I was not allowed. And he did everything on his own. His main line was, you're a woman, you're a lady, you sit in the office. Okay, I sat in the office and I put up the papers because of course, he has signed everything and given. And I put up the papers, and later most of the loans were bad loans, became bad. And it was like a big amount. It was, I mean, fraud. I mean, not even bad, but there were no properties and a lot of things like that. So I got fed up of these things. And I asked my management to change me. I was in the loan section. So I requested them to change my department. So they said they would change, they would change. They never changed my department. I got posted to only loan department till 2010. And 2010, they posted me to a branch in 2010. So when I had to get relief the next day, today I get an order saying that this is cancelled. Your transfer is cancelled. Then I said that is enough. So meantime, I was thinking what to do next. Like, I don't want to sit at home. I need to do something. So I came across an advertisement saying training for tour managers. I didn't know what it was. So I just applied. And luckily for me, it was weekend
Training.
weekend course. So I could go after so I applied. And
Well, I'm sure backing you were
I was in the bank, no? So Saturday, Sunday, I used to go. Saturday afternoon after my banking hours, and Sunday I went and finished the course. After that was from Thomas Cook, and after the course, I got they absorbed me. Like I got a job in. Now again, I can't just go and resign. No, I need some this. And you are in two minds. You know, my generation, banking means it's like some big job sort of. You should not leave. And they were all against me, don't leave the bank, but I was determined to leave the bank. So 2010 I applied for this my VRS, and then I joined Thomas Cook. That
So again, when you go on tours and travels, again it is against the sort of grain, against the situation at home where you said you going out for sport, number one, there was objection. You overrode that because of talent and because of coaches convincing your family. Then you going to work outside. Again, second is bank. Third is totally other extreme where you are going traveling outside. How did you manage to convince, or people were convinced by then?
managed to convince my husband, because after that it was husband. No, I was married. My father was difficult, very difficult to convince, but my husband was not so difficult.
So,
And my son had grown up. He was like, I think in 9th standard or 10th standard. So it was okay for me to.
so you mentioned husband. Um, from Bombay, we know him as Joakim Karwalo.
Yes.
That is, you have one hockey player and one athlete at home. What is the conversation like? And do you all watch anything together?
We watch tennis together. We watch football together. Not hockey, but he watches hockey. I don't watch hockey. But athletics, yeah, we watch together.
Then your second Olympics was 1988 Seoul Olympics.
Yes.
That is when athletics changed into a different direction because of the 100-meter final, which everyone was watching, where Ben Johnson won with his arm raised,
Yes.
and after that he got caught
Yes.
in dope test, positive dope test.
Yes.
Was he framed, or what? Any idea about what? And what was where were you, and how did you react to the situation?
I watched him run. I was in the stadium, and we were happy for him. And then because we knew him personally in the sense we used to meet him while training, and he was a very jovial person. He would fool with us, talk to us, and so we used to like him. And we were really really upset when this happened, and we felt he was framed. He was framed, definitely.
And from the same country, we had Usain Bolt. who was almost like a decade of
Yes.
nobody can catch him. And he has set new, raised the bar as far as 100, 200 is concerned. What did you feel watching him, one another Jamaican watching running?
Oh, he was like great. I mean, it was something out of this world, the way he used to run. And I used to always think, because in the last, when he was about to, reach, he knew he was like well ahead. And he somehow, he used to put his hand up and slow down. And so I used to always think, if he would just run past, he would have clocked even much better timing. That's my
You're
thinking.
like a showman. So,
Yeah, yeah. He used to little slow down near the finish line.
hmm.
So I used to always wonder, if this stupid fellow goes running, he'll clock much better timing.
The same events where 100, 200 was your starting events from your
Yeah.
Mangalore days, from your school days and all that. What was your experiences? That is, why did you sort of opt for sprints?
It just happened. I didn't know what was sports. I told you I didn't know. We had a physical fitness test in my school, and then it was compulsory for all of us to run. And I ran because it was compulsory. Otherwise, I wouldn't have run, because I never used to go and play any games or anything. Because it was compulsory, I ran. I ran, and my timing was the best in my school. Not only best in my school, we had a state champion in our school, and my timing was better than us. So my teacher got confused. She said, "How can this girl, you know, clock
Clocks.
this timing?"
Hmm.
She made me run again.
Hmm.
And it was the same.
Hmm.
Then they used to make me train in school during sports period and all. Then they told me, you have to come for. I said, I can't come because my daddy won't allow me. Then they started coming home, and so it started that way. I didn't know anything, because even they had told me how to run on a track. You have to run straight. You cannot go to other thing. Everything was told to me. That time I didn't know anything.
So,
And shifting into 400 happened in the camp. I don't know whether you remember, there was a
32.
coach,
Ken Bosun.
Ken Boson.
Hmm.
He was the one.
Coming back to we'll go to the 82 Asian Games where India hosted the Asian Games, and it was like a very big thing because live color telecast
Yeah.
for us and all that. So, what was your experiences at the Asian Games, preparation for the Asian Games and the actual Asian Games?
Yeah, I don't remember much, but preparation, we were in the camps, and it was just 100 meters. So, training is not very hard for 100 meters. And didn't know the importance. It like saying that it was an Asian Games, and that you're running, and I didn't know any, I didn't have that, what to say. It was my, as I said, first initial years, and immediately I got into the Asian Games. And then I just ran. Of course, I didn't win anything, but the only saying, as I said, like looking at everybody coming, and staying in the village and meeting so many people, that was like fun for us. But
Sure.
training wise, and I was training under Nambiar that time,
Okay.
PT Usha's coach.
Okay.
And 100 meters training was not hard at all.
OM Nambiar, PT Usha's coach.
Yes.
Uh, Also, when we think about Usha, you mentioned that you didn't, you got into sort of running athletics because it was compulsory. You didn't know, it was just natural. And Usha is a person who has sort of done so well that any small girl who is trying to run fast, people always ask her, "Arey, are you trying to run like Usha?"
Usha.
So you have a very sort of close sort of interaction with her from um, age group athletics to Asian Games to Olympics.
Yeah.
Can you sort of explain?
Usha is something different. She is very, very hardworking, and very dedicated, and she's so focused. She's not like us. We see here, there, and everything, but she's like totally focused. And even after even I mean training, she'll take rest. Like Shiny, me and all, we used to go out and enjoy, and but she will not do it. Totally focused and dedicated. A very, very simple and a very good human being, and she's my friend till date.
So she is now president of the Indian Olympic Association. She also got into administration. There is supposed to be sort of like a moment cleaning sort of campaign from the government downwards. Do you feel that change happening on the ground when you are now with the group going through airports, going through other sort of places where earlier things were difficult, now things are in place?
Yes, yes. Now the people who travel with us are all they know what I mean how to uh, like behave outside, and also they know that they are not supposed to throw things.
Mm.
Like earlier, they anything you eat, you just used to throw, but now they are learning. They're very particular about all those things.
And when you are taking a group outside, the mode of transport is the road or the train or the what?
Road. We have a bus, European bus, and also in our bus, like our drivers, we call them captains. They are very particular that you can't dirty the bus.
Hmm.
So he keeps that plastic bins everywhere in the bus. So he'll ask the people to throw everything, whatever they eat. But still, there are some people who dirty the bus. But mostly now, everybody they are aware of it, and we keep on mentioning it in the bus, saying, "Don't dirty the bus. Put the trash into the trash bin."
You said sport sort of armed you with a lot of other qualities which helped you in life. For the people listening to this program, or do you think the early exposure to sport, any sport, whichever is possible, is useful in building confidence, in building sort of character, in
Yes,
making it?
yeah, very much, very much. I
Mhm.
think because it helps you to be disciplined, focused, and hardworking. Everything and all I always encourage children to go into sports. These days children parents don't allow. They want them to study and do well in exams, but sports is a no.
Mm.
But I feel no, children has to participate in sports because it helps them to develop, especially these teenagers and all. Like if you're in sports, you are totally dedicated into training and other things, but you don't have distractions. Children these days get so much I mean they get distracted and they get into all bad habits and things. But if you're in sports, these things will not happen. 100% sure.
So, from a parent point of view, how would you sort of should parents sort of look at children interested in sport, trying to get into sport, and encouraging them to get into sport from
They
parent
should
point of
encourage them to play at least one game,
view?
or swimming, or football, or anything. Some game they should start from the initial this only. Like I remember in when my son was in 10th standard, I used to tell him every day. I used to tell him, go down and play for 1 hour and come. He had to play. People in my building only used to shout at me, what is this 10th standard में आपको कुछ ये नहीं है. I said, no, let him play. So he used to go play for 1 hour and come. So I think children has to play.
So,
Sports makes you mentally very strong. I believe in that. It makes you mentally, you can face any situation if you are in sports.
women in sport or girls in sport, now we get the situation where women are making a mark in across sports. Like you have shooting, you have tennis, you have badminton, athletics. So, has the situation opened up for women, or it is because of the sort of new generation which is able to try out different things and try to find their way?
No, I think it has now opened up for women.
Hmm.
There are many, like you can see, what is her name?
Sanya,
Sanya and
Chindu.
Sindhu and all. They are all role models now for younger generation. They are all, many people have started playing like badminton, tennis. Of course, athletics not much, but at least and all these squash, there are so many girls playing squash. So it's opening up now. During our time, I think because of us, four of us, girls started running the 400 meters. we were the main this for them, like inspiration for there's so many, like you might be knowing most of the team, the people who are getting selected is for 400 meters only, the girls for the relay team and all, most of the team. So I think now girls, they want to do well in sports, and they are women are always more hardworking than the men, I think.
Thank you, Vandana, for your time. It was a lovely moment interacting with you on so many different topics. We got to know so much about you, which we didn't know.
Most welcome. I mean, I enjoyed my time here. Thank you.
Thank you.